We spent the next year in Germany building the lander in those facilities. And after 1 year, we moved to Munich to start our test campaign on that lunar lander. When we were in Munich, we ran tests that allowed us to simulate the environment that we would see in deep space. We ran tests to simulate the environment we would see during the SpaceX Falcon 9 launch. And we ran tests of all of the systems that we needed to use while we were in orbit, while we were descending, and while we were in operation on the moon. Once we finished all those tests, we packed up our operations in Germany, and we flew on a specialized cargo transport over the Atlantic to arrive at Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral. The AIT team personally escorted the lander over, and once we landed in Florida, we spent 2 months with our launch preparations, which included fueling the lander and doing a final systems checkout. After those 2 months, we said goodbye to our lunar lander, we put it inside the fairing, and it was integrated into the launch vehicle to be launched in December of 2022. That's basically the M1 story in a nutshell.
Thank you, Scott.
You're welcome.
And again, thank you for your hard work. Now, of course, our Series 1 lander is not going to the moon empty-handed. It is carrying several payloads expected to start operations on the lunar surface after landing. Let us hear about our payload customers on M1 from ispace Chief Revenue Officer Atsushi Saiki. Saiki-san, tell us, who is going to the moon with us?
Okay, thank you, Kevin. On Mission 1, we are carrying a number of government and commercial payloads. Our payload service does not only consist of bringing something to the moon, but also iSpace closely communicate and coordinate with its customers to integrate each payload into the lander and its system. Secondly, the payloads are tested before the launch to verify their ability to survive the long journey to the moon. And iSpace further offer power delivery and communication service to payloads that require it during transit to the moon, as well as after successful landing. Throughout the mission, our Series 1 lander also offers protection from the harsh environment of space by providing thermal control and other services. Our payloads on Mission 1 vary in size, mass, and objectives. Some of them are mobile, and we plan to deploy them from our lander after touchdown, such as the MBRC Rashid rover and the JAXA transformable lunar robot. After deployment, these rovers will begin their mission objectives on the lunar surface while sending and receiving data and commands via our Mission Control Center in Tokyo. Other payloads will stay integrated into the lander. We carry experimental solid-state battery for Nitera, which perform verification tests of this new battery technology under extreme environment in space and the lunar surface. Further, we carry several payloads within the Canadian LEAP program, an AI-powered flight computer by MCSS, as well as a camera system featuring wide-angle cameras by Canadensis. Further, our partnership program involves cooperations from various industries and fields in the exciting new challenge towards the moon. We cooperate with companies, as you can see on the screen here. We believe that the transport and operation of these payloads provides an exceptional value to our customers, not only in terms of space and lunar exploration, but also in the development of new technologies that could benefit human society on Earth in the future. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Saiki-san. And we are all super excited to bring more and more companies to the moon.
Yes.
Now, for a bit of background on how our lander and its payloads are deployed and operated after landing, let's hear it from our MCC crew again.
Thank you.
As soon as our spacecraft detects contact with the lunar surface, it will go to TDM, which is touchdown mode. It will cut off the engines and make sure that we're stable on the lunar surface. After that, we'll perform many checkouts to make sure every system and our customers are still working as expected.
One of the first things that we will do is deploy our high-gain antenna when we're on the surface. So our high-gain antenna will allow us to download all of the data and pictures and photos that we've taken throughout our mission. The lunar environment is completely different than the environment we've been facing up until this point. Most people probably think the moon is this cold, desolate place, but it can get very hot in the sunlight, up to 120 degrees C. So the first thing we'd do again is a full checkout of our system.
And once we have our high-gain antenna, which allows us to send much more data back to Earth than we could in cruise, then we're ready to deploy our customer rovers. The bigger one is the MBRSC rover. So it has been flying up here. Once it's time to deploy, the arm folds down with the rover on it, and then we release the rover and it can drive off to go do some great science.
Thank you to Katie and Haroon, and all the best during those first moments of surface operations. Now, we are happy to have a quick message from a very special guest, Yamazaki Naoko-san, a former JAXA astronaut who flew on the space shuttle to the International Space Station, will very soon be connecting remotely with us. Yamazaki-san, hello, can you hear us?
Hello, Kevin. Yes, I can hear you very well, and congratulations for your achievements so far. Yes, I am so thrilled and honored to be with you for the upcoming historic moment, first ever private lunar landing. First of all, I'm so proud of the entire ispace team, including families, for the remarkable achievement to get this point. As an astronaut, I cannot overstate that our humankind. My dream is to open a school on the moon someday so that various students from various countries and regions can learn together on the moon, watching the Earth from a distance. The moon has a huge potentials in many ways, so it is important M1 and following missions will secure high-frequent transportation, contains Canadian, Japanese payloads, and so on. When I visited iSpace Mission Control Center in Tokyo a couple of months ago, I had the privilege to write a message on the wall, and I wrote, "Fly our dreams to the moon." So thank you very much for flying our dreams to the moon. So proud of your never give up spirits. All the best and Godspeed.
Thank you so much, Yamazaki-san, and it's always a great pleasure to have you with us. Now, let us have another quick look at our status screen. Hitachi-san, looking at the status screen, I hope we have it now here soon. Yes, what phase would you put us on now, more or less?
Yes, I believe the lander is still in the phase 2, that's a cruise.
We are collaborating with a group of international experts to have finding suitable landing sites on the moon. This can allow the missions to have 12 days of sunlight on the lunar surface. Let's start with where are these 4 candidate landing sites?
Well, we're having 4 landing sites. One prime landing site, which is the most exciting one we find, which is at Atlas Crater. And we have 3 backup landing sites. One is not too far from the prime landing site, which is Lacus Somniorum. One then in the Western Hemisphere, where we have Oceanus Procellarum and Sinus Iridum. All of our landing sites are in the Northern Hemisphere and, are very exciting for their scientific potential and are well suitable to act as backup landing site in case the landing does not work of any of the others.
We selected our site using both scientific and technical criteria. So for instance, we want to go to a place relatively flat, devoid of boulders, but we also want to maximize the science output with having some geological diversity. And in order to proceed, we collected data from space mission currently orbiting the moon that we processed. We tried to translate our criteria into calculation steps, and then we came up with a list of possible sites that we scored and we ranked.
I think from the beginning, the landing site selection working group started with having safety in mind, the safety of landing and also safety of Rashid rover traversing the moon. Rashid rover is designed to overcome obstacles of up to 10 centimeters of height and also to drive over slopes of maximum 20 degrees. When we reach there, definitely we have a lot of ideas to do a lot of science experiments. We are going to study the regolith on the landing site, and also we are going to study the thermal characteristics, and also we have nice and exciting ideas on experimenting with different materials, interacting with the regolith on the landing site.
So my role was to I guess, further optimize our landing site selection, make sure that there was alignment with both our lander team here in ispace as well as our other customer payloads, as well as to establish our own science objectives to help with the continuous improvement of ispace lander and rover exploration missions into the future. Each of the 4 selected landing sites are incredibly unique and will offer fantastic scientific value, and they're just really exciting opportunities.
For to land on any of the given landing sites, we have to make sure the spacecraft is passing over it. But then as the moon rotates over in its own axis, we only have one given opportunity every lunar month, right? So every 28 days. So in order to minimize the time that passes between any of the prime and any of the landing opportunities, in case there's any deviation from the nominal, then we selected these 3 landing sites that will be accessible within just a few days.
And a big thank you to our colleagues at MBRSC, CRPG, iSpace Europe, and everyone else who contributed to this very critical part of Mission 1. Now, while we wait for the lander to reappear from the far side of the moon and reconnect with our ground station, let us hear about what we can look forward to over the next couple of years. I welcome iSpace Director and Chief Finance Officer Junpei Nozaki.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. So while I wait for Mission 1 landing, let's talk about the future. So we have Mission 2 next year and Mission 3 in 2025. And let me explain. Mission 2 will use a Seas 1 lander, same as right now in the space, but we'll also bring a micro rover, which currently our Luxembourg team is developing. And also for Mission 3, right now, our next generation lander, Seas 2 lander, is manufactured in the US, Colorado, Denver. And this will bring 2 satellites to the lunar orbit. And also, they will land on the far side, Uragawa, of the moon. So this is a very fantastic mission going forward in 2025. And also, Mission 3, we are going to bring NASA payload under a program called CRIPS, Commercial Lunar Payload Service. So we will contribute to a NASA Artemis program too. So next page. I like to stress most important thing about a sustainable business model. So we are not a company doing just one single mission, but rather we are doing 3 missions at the same time altogether. This is very important because while we are doing Mission 1, we can feedback what we learned from our Mission 1 and the data what we acquired from Mission 1 to Mission 2 and Mission 3 rapidly. And this is really important to improve our maturity of technology and also maturity of a business model. And also, for startup companies, financing is really important. But we are very proud and we are very fortunate that we could raise more than $300 million of money so far to support not only one single mission, but all 3 missions together. So this is an important point to create a sustainable business as iSpace. So we are now closer to the landing. And I strongly believe we can have a good achievement. But however, if whatever the outcome is, our company will go and continue. And also, I promise never quit the Lunar Quest. So thank you very much, Kevin.
Thank you, Nozaki-san. And we are all very excited to see the progress on our follow-up missions. Now I would like to welcome Scott Moon on the stage once again. Scott, join us once more, please.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you, Scott. And we just heard that preparations for Mission 2 are already in full swing. Tell us a little bit more about the ongoing assembly, integration, and testing activities.
Sure. So during the M1 integration and testing that I described earlier, we gained a lot of valuable information about how the lander responds and how it fits together. And our design teams have already incorporated all that information into the design of the M2 lander, making some small improvements to improve the performance. Also, the last 100 days in spaceflight have given us very valuable information about how we perform in space. And this information has also already been incorporated into our updated design. So we spent the last 4 months with our teams building a development model of the M2 lander, and the testing on this has been completed 2 weeks ago. This information tells us how the new design will be performing. We are also incorporating this information into our new design, and I'm really happy to announce that as of last week, we started building M2 flight model lander. The first pieces have already been assembled, and we are on our way to the M2 launch.
Thank you, Scott.
You're welcome.
And it's really amazing that even while Mission 1 is still ongoing, we are already working on our next mission. So good luck to you and your team. So I have a good live update for all of you. We received word that the lander has reappeared from the backside of the moon. And it's on its final orbit, only minutes away from the planned landing. So, Hakamada-san, seems like it's really happening.
Yes.
How do you feel?
Well, it's really happening. Yes, very, very excited to see very final phase of the landing soon.
Yes, so we can really just hope and send our good energies towards the lander. So Hitachi-san, looking at the display, what is the status?
So it looks like I think that the display is still the simulation modes, but I think it seems that if everything is going as expected, I think we should have entered now the braking burn phase. So it should be maybe the altitude is about 25 kilo, and if everything is okay, then I think braking burn is continuing to slow down the speed from 6,000 from about 100,000 kilometers per hour to a few hundred kilometers per hour.
Thank you, Hitachi-san. And actually, for everyone here, we were able to download several images and videos from our lander over the last few days. Again, these are not real-time images, but they were taken from lunar orbit around 100 kilometer altitude. So let's have a look at these images. So this first image, Hakamada-san, look at it. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful and then very incredible pictures taken from our lander.
It is truly amazing how a privately funded spacecraft can capture the moon and the Earth like this and send the image back. Now, Hitachi-san, looking at this, I think this image also contains some scientific, very, very interesting speciality. Can you explain it a bit more?
Oh, yes, yeah. So this is the picture of the Earth lies on the moon, but most interestingly, as you can see, if you can take a very closer look at the Earth, so we see actually the shadow of the moon on the Earth. So you see that black spot there, close to the Australia. So this is actually the shadow of the moon. So we took this picture during the solar eclipse. So it's really interesting to see this kind of the phenomena, not from the Earth, but from the lunar orbit. So this is very interesting and very exciting picture.
Thank you, Hitachi-san. And I believe we also have a video that I would like to share with you.
Wow.
Hakamada-san, doesn't this look amazing?
Well, this is real video.
Yes.
Not CG.
No.
Wow. It's amazing.
It's really hard to believe, but it looks amazing. So Hitachi-san, we see something in the lower part of the video. What is this?
Yes, I think this is a part of our lander. So this is a part that we call MLI, a multi-layer MLI, and we see the personal logo at on the right-hand side. So it's really great. It's really amazing to see this, shadow and the bright part and the shadow part of the moon. So because there's no atmosphere on the moon, so we can clearly see the lunar surface, and this is really amazing video. I'm really amazed.
Thank you. And I believe we have one more image. Yet again, a video. Hakamada-san.
Well, another amazing, video. I cannot tell any word. Beautiful.
It really transcends words, and it is just amazing. So now I would like to ask Hakamada-san and Hitachi-san to join our crew on your seats. And for the last few minutes, we are almost 5 minutes before planned landing, I would like to ask you to continue viewing the event, and let's all root for our lander while we wait for the planned landing.
Thank you.
And now, looking at the status screen, the lander is still moving over 2,000 kilometers per hour. Please let me point out here that we might lose communication with our lander during descent. This is to be expected, and we will reconnect as quickly as possible. Also, if you see any sudden changes in the simulation, this might also be caused by our system of how we simulate it. Even if the lander appears to be on the surface or anywhere else, please wait for our final confirmation from our MCC. As soon as we receive final word, we will share it with you. And you see our MCC crew getting ready for the moment. Anxiously awaiting, getting their stations ready. Here in Tokyo, in our US office and our Luxembourg office, everyone is awaiting. Now we are around 3 minutes before landing. You can see the tension in everyone's faces. But these are professionals, and we trust them. Now, we see the speed of our lander in the upper right corner, around 700 kilometers per hour, under 7 kilometers above the surface. We are getting closer and closer. The lander continues to fire its propulsion system, and we are now around L-2 minutes. Close to 500 kilometers per hour, under 6 kilometers above surface. We are only moments away from the planned touchdown on the lunar surface. Everyone who worked on this mission is anxiously anticipating how it will turn out. Please note again, communication with our lander may be interrupted during descent, and it might therefore take a little bit of time for our ground crew to confirm the status of our lander. We will share the latest situation with you as soon as possible. Even if you see the lander landed on the surface, we will update you as soon as possible. Now only 200 kilometers per hour, under 3 kilometers above the surface. Only 1 minute to go. (190, 180 kilometers per hour), under 2 kilometers. The lunar lander keeps braking. Now in vertical orientation. Only 1 kilometer above the surface remaining. We're getting closer and closer. About 120 kilometers per hour, 700 meters. We will soon have reached the planned landing time, at which point I might ask you to wait for a few moments for us to confirm the status. 60 kilometers per hour, 20 meters, final approach. 10 meters. And our simulation might have lost its connection with the MCC. No reason for concern yet. We are still seeing the animation going. 3 kilometers per hour. Only meters above the surface now. And now we are at the moment of planned landing time. Again, everyone, please give us a few moments to confirm. We hope to maybe receive a message from our MCC soon. If that is not the case, then we will need a few moments to continue investigations, and we'll update you as soon as we have new information. Our MCC crew standing by, waiting to confirm. Everyone is laser focused right now. You can really feel the tension. Please allow us a little bit more time to confirm the status of our lander. Our MCC ground team keeps working, confirms whether or not we can receive telemetry from our lander. So they are continuing to investigate. This process may still take a little bit of time. And we see all different kinds of expressions here. It's really difficult to tell from our seats. And it is so difficult feeling powerless now, but all we can do is cheer them up and trust them. Please give us a few more moments. We are still in the process of confirmation. The team keeps on working tirelessly. Attempting to reestablish communication with our lander after the planned landing time has passed. Thank you everyone for your patience. I know everyone wants to know the status of our lander, and I assure you, our crew is working on it as we speak. So while we continue to confirm, we will be with you again in a few moments. Thank you very much for your patience, and we will give you updates as soon as we have them. Thank you for your patience, and we'll be right back. Thank you for your patience. As of now, our MCC crew is still continuing to investigate the lander's status. So we ask you to bear with us a little bit longer, and we will be right back. Thank you for your patience.
At this moment, we have not able to confirm successful landing on the lunar surface. Our engineers at MCC is continue to investigate the current status of the lander. Currently, we have not confirmed the communication from the lander. We already confirmed that we have established the communication until very end of the landing. However, now we lost the communication. So we have to assume that we could not complete the landing on the lunar surface. Our engineers will continue to investigate the situation, and then we will update you the further information once we finish the investigation. At this moment, what I can tell is we are very proud of the fact that we have already achieved many things during this mission 1. As I said, we have been secured the communication at the very end of the landing. That means we acquired actual flight data during the landing phase. That is great achievement for the future missions, Mission 2 and Mission 3. To that end, that is important to feedback what we learned from this Mission 1 to Mission 2 and the Mission 3. That's why we built our sustainable business model to continue our effort for the future missions. I'd like to thank you, all of the employees who have been contributed to this mission since the beginning of this company and then to the present. And then also our families who continue to support us. And our shareholders, our partners, and our customers, and the suppliers, and everyone who believe in ispace vision. We will keep going. Never quit Lunar Quest. Let me allow to speak in Japanese to the Japanese audience next. 現在のところ、ミッション1のランダウンですね、月面への着陸が確認できておりません。我々のですね、MCC のエンジニアが今ですね、得られた情報をもとにですね、調査を継続しております。MCC の報告によりますと、月面のですね、着陸のところまでですね、通信は確立できていた模様ですが、現在通信が確立できていないという状況のようです。この後ですね、さらにエンジニアが状況を調査をしますので、最新の状況が分かり次第ですね、またアップデートさせていただきたいと思います。今ここで私たちが言えることはですね、すでにミッション1はですね、非常に大きな成果を残したということです。先ほど申し上げたように、月面の着陸のところまでですね、通信が確立できていました。ということはですね、実際の着陸までのフライトデータがですね、確実に得られたということです。これをもとにですね、我々の次の使命はミッション2、ミッション3でですね、しっかりとこのナレッジをフィードバックをして、次の技術の成熟度を上げていくということです。そのために我々は継続的なビジネスのできる環境をですね、整えてきました。今回このミッションを進めていくにあたってですね、弊社の社員、この会社のですね、設立から今までですね、多くの社員に多大な貢献をしてくれました。そして家族の皆様、そして 我々を信じて、我々のビジョンをですね、信じ続けてくれた株主の皆様、ハクト R のパートナーの方々、そしてお客様、サプライヤーの方々、多くの皆様にですね、感謝を申し上げたいと思います。我々は歩み続けます。
Thank you, Hakamada-san, and thank you to everyone who joined us for our coverage today. Please don't forget to follow ispace and Hakuto R on social media for future updates. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Also, if you are in Tokyo, you can see a life-sized model of our Sirius 1 lander at the Neo Tsukide Kurasten exhibition at the National Museum of Emerging Science and Innovation here on Odaiba. And don't forget, never quit the lunar quest.
どうもありがとうございました。